Doing you a favour.
Oh look, he gets one good result and he's out vlogging again.
So it's Wednesday before Brands Hatch, and I'm going to take you through all the little jobs I have to do today before we get on the road to Brands, and more importantly all the things we have to take with us to a race weekend, as you wouldn't believe the amount of junk that we have to pack into this van for 3 days motorbike racing. Job number one is to wash the van. Next up is the paddock transport dad. This is an electric scooter here. I don't know if the viewers at home can see, but there's a slight bit of crash damage here. Care to explain yourself?
Well, it was my birthday at the weekend and motorbikes have got to be involved in any celebration, and I performed a stunt with a friend of mine on the back who was topless. A man, by the way. It will appear on social media at some point, this cunning stunt.
Not gears? No.
As the van washed, scooter washed, and now I'll show you everything that we take with us on a race weekend. Taz isn't even out of bed yet and I'm left packing the van, so I'll take you through everything we have. My kit bag, Taz's kit bag, Dad's kit bag, my leathers, spare leathers, Taz's leathers, spare leathers, my helmet, spare helmet, Taz's spare helmet, suit dryer, forearm stretchers. Then the last things we put in are spare knee sliders, my merchandise, as well as things like a glove dryer, which is handy in case it rains. I'll put a link in my description if you'd like to get yourself one of those. They're only from Amazon and they're cheap, but very handy. Right, so it's Thursday afternoon or evening. We're all set up now. We've had tea tonight. So as promised last week, I mentioned that if you've got any questions for me, write them in the comments below and I'll answer them on the Thursday of the following race weekend. So this week, first question is from Ryan Staffs. Question for the Brands Hatch road trip. Well, I should point out we didn't manage to do it on the road trip as we drove down separately, but this evening. After 2 rounds of the season, are you already making plans for next season? Do you know which BSB rides are available next season? And how do you go about approaching the teams, etc. to get on one of their bikes? So basically, at this point in the year in BSB, not a lot happens with riders moving from team to team. In the MotoGP paddock, it's quite common that riders sign really early, but in the British Superbike Championship, for whatever reason, things are left a little bit later. So no one really swaps about at this stage of the year. Normally, conversations like that start happening from the midpoint of the season and sort of towards the latter stages of the year is when things like that get sorted out. And as far as how that happens, basically it's just a case of riders going up to other team managers and asking for a meeting. Some riders have managers, but most of the paddock just sort of does it themselves, and it's quite a small paddock, so everyone kind of knows everyone within the paddock. If you're a really fortunate rider and you've had a really good season, you might have team managers approaching you. More than likely it'll be a rider chasing the team, because there's such a small amount of good teams that riders want to be in that everyone's kind of after the same seats. So it's a bit of both. Team managers do try and find riders, but at the same time riders also start chasing teams.
No, I haven't sorted a ride for next year as of yet. In the past, I've normally got Mad Mark to try and sort it out, talk to team managers or other teams, or they might be talking to him. But now I have Michael Laverty as my manager, so yeah, he'll be going round. It might be with the same team like it was last year to renegotiate a contract with the same team, or it could be with another team for the future. So as of yet, it's early days yet, it's only round 3. And with the championship starting so late in June, these contracts and whatnot, sorting it for 2022 will probably be a little bit later on in the year. So yeah, no silly season in BSB just yet.
The second question is from username 316. It says, out of the current MotoGP riders, who would you choose as your teammate? I think I'd have to choose Jack Miller on that one. I really like Jack's riding style, his work ethic, and he looks like a lot of fun to be around. I actually raced Jack when I was younger, but that was a long time ago, so I think I would have to pick Jack.
Well, you probably, for me, I'd have to go Valentino Rossi, because it looks like he's going to retire in the near future, and yeah, he's never going to race in MotoGP again, so I'd have to say Valley.
I was asked by Ross McGee, what makes Not Kill your favourite track of the year? Knockhill is my favourite track of the year for two reasons. One, I spend a lot of time up there, so I get a lot of laps around Knockhill. So it's really good fun for me when we go to race there, as I feel like I've got a bit of an advantage over other riders. And secondly, we were born and brought up in Scotland, so we lived there, or I lived there till I was 7 years old and Taz was about 5. And it's just nice. It feels like going home for me really when we're up there. We've also got a lot of friends and family up there, and it's just kind of gives us that home round motivation really, so that's why I enjoy Knockhill. I had a question from Mr. Reacher which said, my question is, can we get some more behind the scenes footage of what your in-between race weekend fitness is? I can do that at some point. Basically the long and short of it is we do a lot of cycling. That's kind of what we do for recovery rides after the weekend when we've had big busy weekends, and then for our cardiovascular training after that, where we're trying to improve our fitness or maintain our fitness. It's pretty much cycling is all we do. We also do a little bit in the gym with strength and conditioning and some stretching, but it's mainly cycling is our main form of fitness. The second segment of Thursdays that I was introducing last week was Max Swap. So Max Swap started last week, if you didn't see it, with me having a set of Lee Johnston's boots, and I offered to swap them for anything anyone would like to swap me for them, if that makes sense. I was inundated with swaps really. The most entertaining one for me was people's girlfriends or wives. I think we've got 6 or 7 wives now that are up for grabs, so that was very generous of everyone offering their wives, but we'll have to pass on the wives for now. We also had a set of tickets for a Harlequins game, a Nirvana concert ticket from 1994, we had a lawnmower, a GoPro 4, an MT10 exhaust, a Kawasaki frame. And what I realised was it's probably easier if I stick to items that are quite small, as it'll be easier to post them. So I picked a winner out of the first Max Swap round, and the winner is Lee Andrews, who offered me a Max Biaggi helmet from 1997 that is signed, that he won in an MCN competition. So I've swapped that helmet for Lee Johnston's boots. So now we're on round 2. So now I've got a Max Biaggi helmet that's signed from 1997 that I'm willing to swap for something else. So you've kind of got the idea of it now. It doesn't have to be racing memorabilia, it can be absolutely anything. But yeah, we'll see where we go. We've got a Max Biaggi helmet swap now. The last suggestion was also a pink bobble, which was the most liked suggestion. A pink bobble for Lee Johnston's hair, and although that would be very entertaining to swap for the pink bobble, it didn't really have much value, so I'll just go and buy a pink bobble and put it in Lee's hair because I'm in full agreement he needs one. Morning everyone, it's Friday morning. We've got 2 free practices today and a couple of little things to try on the bike, so I'll check back in after the free practices. Just want to quickly interrupt this video with some very exciting news and a big thank you to TempRocket.com, who have come on board as a personal sponsor, and they're going to sponsor this channel for the remainder of the season. TempRocket is a unique, powerful tool for finding and booking temporary staff. Harnessing the power of online technology, the platform transforms temporary staff recruitment by bringing the 3 key players, hirers, agencies and contractors, together in one place to deliver a quicker, more efficient solution for all parties 24/7. Making life easier for contractors and freelancers, creating more business for agencies and simplifying the recruitment process for the hirer. TempRocket's a win-win-win. Please visit www.temprocket.com for more information. Back to the video. I finished the first session, and the one thing with motorbike racing that you should never forget is it's never as easy as it seems. We obviously finished Knockhill in a good place, and then we've come here. I had a problem with the bike, so I actually got a black and orange flag and had to pull over in the middle of the session, so I missed half the session and didn't actually feel that great with the front of the bike. So I ended up in 13th after the first session, but that's part of the game. We've got a puzzle to figure out this weekend. It's not quite happened in the first session, so I'm going to the garage now to look at the data with the team and come up with a plan, try and improve ourselves for the second session. But yeah, it's not plain sailing so far this weekend. track guide for the weekend. We're going to start with Taz, track guide of Brands Hatch.
So turn 1 will be 3rd gear on my bike, and it's quite a late apex into paddock. It's crucial not to run wide on the exit, as it bottoms out the bike basically. Goes in a big dip and then goes back up the hill. So late apex and don't run too wide on the exit.
Turn 2 Druids is back to 2nd gear. It's a bit of a late apex on that one, and you try not to drift too wide on the way out, as you've got to set yourself up before you head into Graham Hill Bend.
Graham Hill Bend again is quite a late apex. It's 2nd gear on my bike, and you head out towards the outside curb and then pull it back, and then use all of the curve on the exit. Surtees
is the corner onto the back straight. It's a really long corner, and it's blind on the exit, so you kind of have to have a late apex. It's back to 2nd gear on a superbike, and you'll see riders sort of hanging out at the start of the corner and then bringing it back right at the end so they can pick the bike up and accelerate hard up over the hill, trying to keep the wheelie down on the way out of the corner all the way onto the back straight. Well, that was a bit of a nightmare day. Ended up 8th in the 2nd session. We had a problem with the bike this morning, and it was basically a last minute dash trying to get it fixed before the 2nd session. So we managed to get that fixed. So the 2nd session we were kind of lucky just to be out there really, but the team did a mega job to get me out, and we got some really valuable information from that session. I was only 8th in the 2nd session, which is obviously not where we want to be, but we could also see exactly on the data what we need to do to fix it for tomorrow. So, although I'm only 8th, I'm quite content with where we are. I think we know what to do with the bike, and fingers crossed, if the changes we make work, we'll be in the ballpark. Looks like it might rain tomorrow. There's rain forecast at the minute, so kind of just have to sit and wait. When the conditions are like that, it's the same for everyone, so there's no point really thinking about it. Just get on with it tomorrow. The last time we rode here in the wet with Bathams, it was pretty good. I enjoyed riding the BM round here, so fingers crossed we'll have a good day tomorrow, and I'll check back in with you after qualifying.
Hawthorne's end of the back straight at Brands. It's a really fast corner. You're approaching it at about 180 mile an hour. That again for me is 3rd gear. It's quite cambered there, so you want to get close to the curb and try and sort of a little bit of a late apex, but also hug the curb. And again, don't want to run too wide on the exit as the track comes back on itself.
Westfield is a really fast corner. It's 3rd gear on most superbikes. You brake hard upright, and then you get off the brake, let the bike run through the corner as fast as you can, and then pick the bike up quickly as there's a big bump on the apex, and you try and pick the bike up as fast as you can to run down the hill and not use too much of the track to set yourself up for Sheen Curve. Well, this is not turning out to be an easy weekend so far. I ended up 13th in qualifying. The track was half wet, half dry. So much so that after 5 laps on a wet tyre, it chewed it up completely. So I came in halfway through to put a new wet tyre in, and we probably just went out too early with the wet tyre, and then it chewed it up again. And then the last 3-4 minutes when the track was at its best, my tyre had gone off really, and it was spinning up quite a lot. And then I came up on some yellow flags on the last 2 laps and some slower riders, so I didn't really get a clear lap. Ended up 13th, but we're not panicking. The bikes, the changes we made yesterday night, I think have helped. Even though it was half wet, half dry, it felt like it was in a better place. So I'll just try and get a start in the race. I'll have to make a lightning start, make some big passes and stay out of trouble, see where we end up after the first race, and then hopefully that will put us in a better position for the second race. Staying positive, don't worry.
Sheen Curve is really tricky corner, probably the most difficult corner on the track. As you approach it, it's blind, so you can't see where your turning in point is. It's quite hard to have a reference there. And when you get up and over the crest, everything goes light a little bit. So yeah, it's a difficult corner, and not much room on the exit. Not much track really to use on the exit. So just trying to find that turning in point on the blind spot at Sheen.
Come out Sheen Curve, and then it's back to second gear for Sterling. You use all of the track on the way in. You have to do your braking upright before you turn into the corner, and then you use all of the camber of that corner. It's really banked, and it means you can run through there really, really fast. Well, what a relief that was. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. We managed to come all the way from 13th on the grid to end up 3rd. A shiny nice trophy as a reward. Yeah, what a result. I got a good start, managed to be, well, I had to be quite aggressive on the first couple of laps to get through everyone. I think on the first lap I managed to go from 13th to 6th position, so that was a good start. And then just managed to pick a few off. And then there was a group further up the road, I managed to chip away at them, got on the back of them and then pick them off one by one. And then ended up 3rd on the road, and there was sort of a big gap to 2nd and a bigger gap to 1st, so just had to settle for 3rd in the end, but I would have taken 3rd any day of the week. Championships are not easy to win, and days like today where you've been up against it, it's been a nightmare weekend if I'm honest up until this point, so to come away with a 3rd is fantastic. I think we're joint leader of the championship again, and yeah, could stay to me. Just try again tomorrow. There's another 15 lap race tomorrow. Got morning warm up before that. See what the weather does, and I'll check back in after that. But for now, I'm going to go eat some pasta and some chocolate because I think I've deserved it. And yeah, see what tomorrow brings. And then try and get the bike stood up, accelerate hard before you get to the last corner at Clearways.
Clearways again is a really important corner because it leads onto the start-finish straight. You don't want to be spinning the tyre too much coming onto the start-finish straight as you might lose a little bit of drive. So that corner's 3rd gear for me. Again, you want to do your hard braking initially and then release the brake and let it off and try and, yeah, not to use that tyre too much coming onto the start-finish straight.
So I forgot to film after the second race. I finished 4th in the second race. It wasn't ideal. I got beaten up on the first lap and ended up 8th after the first lap from 3rd on the grid. Fought my way back through. It wasn't quite meant to be. Ended up 4th. So I came away with a 3rd and a 4th, which, considering the weekend we had, was a pretty positive weekend. And I closed the lead on the championship leader, so I'm only 3 points behind first too. I just came to Taz's house quickly because he had a really good weekend at Brands and he also won the Monster Energy King of Brands Hatch trophy, and I was that excited to show you. I thought you could all have a look. He's got slightly more impressive trophies than me after the weekend, but this is the Monster trophy. It's a truck piston at the bottom and then 4 carbs up there. It's pretty sick. And that concludes this vlog. I've done this slightly differently. It's twice as long as the vlogs I normally do, so do let me know if you enjoyed this one. Max swap will continue next week. We'll swap the Max Biaggi helmet for something else. Let me know what you'd like to swap, and if you've got any questions for the next vlog, then let me know below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.